Hey, Grace Chapel family. We're here on December 7th in our Joy to the World devotion book by Charles Spurgeon. This day was called Laid in a Manger. And Charles Spurgeon says this: "The King of men who was born in Bethlehem was not exempted in his infancy from the common calamities of the poor. No, his lot was even worse than theirs." That quotation from Charles Spurgeon really speaks to Jesus' humble beginnings. You know, it's interesting that Jesus was not born in a royal palace, but God chose for his son to be born in a manger in a stable along with the poor. And this is something that we would see that marked Jesus' life. As Isaiah prophesies about Jesus, it says in Isaiah 53, 1-3, "Who has believed what he has heard from us, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? For he grew up before him like a young plant and like a root out of the dry ground. He had no form or majesty that we should look at him, and no beauty that we should desire him." And so from Jesus' birth, he was from humble beginnings, and this continued. The second thing that we see from Jesus' humble beginnings is that he experienced some of the same things that the poor that he came to save would see. I think this is important because God honestly understood what it meant to be poor and human even. When Jesus was coming of age and his ministry was going to be in full swing, in Luke 4:18-19, he's quoting Isaiah as he reads about himself. "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to come and proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to the captives and recovering of sight to the blind, to set the liberty to those who are oppressed, and proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." And so we see also that Spurgeon points out that Jesus came and really became who he came to save. And so we see this again in Jesus' humble beginnings, that he also experienced a lot of the same things that the poor would have experienced. From the Spurgeon quote, and talking about Jesus' humble beginnings, and even that he probably experienced some of the things of the poor that he came to preach to, one thing that I think developed in Jesus' life was that he had a compassion for the poor. And through these humble beginnings, in Jesus' own experience with being poor, he truly has a heart of compassion. In Matthew 9:36, it says, "When he saw the crowds, he had compassion for them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd." And so you see that Jesus had compassion for the helpless in society. He loved them. And I think it's interesting because Charles Spurgeon was basing that quote off Luke 2:7, which says, "And she gave birth to her firstborn son and wrapped him in a swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them at the inn." That Luke 2 quote passage from scripture shows just how low Jesus stooped into humanity from his glory. I want to leave you with a quote from an unknown author that says this: "He is the King of kings, the radiance of his glory, the Lord of the spaceless, fabulous, infinite universe, omniscient, omnipresent, unspeakable, holy, dwelling in light, unapproachable, changeless, and yet he condescended to be enclosed in lowly human flesh, to be born a despised Judean in a filthy stable, in the womb of a simple Israeli woman, and without fanfare or pomp." As you think about Jesus being laid in a manger today, think of the heights of heaven that he came down to be born and fulfill his ministry.